Hello everybody, this is a Lamley showcase preview of the brand new Hot Wheels car culture timeless icons. Final mix of 2025 and a doozy for sure. Can't wait to showcase these. This video will be in two parts. I'm lost in the wilderness in Utah. I thought I would do a quick unboxing just so you can see what's inside the case. I was out shooting a short, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just start the video in this location because it's so pretty. And then we'll go to a car show in the studio with, well, we've got comparisons of the new R34 with the old R34, Ron Wong's design, like 3 new castings, F50, Ferrari F50, and the Lexus LFA. And then, of course, there's one model that I think is the weak link in this mix, and my ideas for what should have been the 5th model in the concept of timeless icons. But I figured I would shoot it in a timeless location, Utah wilderness. You can basically point a camera anywhere and have something beautiful as a background. That's what we're doing here. Here is the case already open because I shot the short and on top of a rock, which is a terrible place to do an unboxing, but we're going to do it anyway. There are the models and it's very sunny out, but let's just get right to it. The chase is in here, so we'll get to that as well. We start with the Porsche Carrera GT. Very excited to see this premium, and I'm actually quite excited to see this as a just a move to premium. I mean, this casting was done in 2006. Maybe I'll do a brief history lesson of this in the car show. But I'm really excited. It's an iconic car for sure, and definitely something that needed to be in premium. And I'm kind of glad. I understand maybe big wheels in the back. That's kind of, you know, old school Hot Wheels. But I still think the way this casting was designed, everything is there with this one, and I'm really kind of happy. Typically, I'd say update it, but in this case, I really like seeing this one as as an upgrade from basic. That is the Porsche Carrera GT. Next one in this unboxing is the Ferrari F40. There it is. What are we talking premium now? We had the 499P, then we had the LaFerrari. This is the 3rd casting for premium. Right, the Ferrari F50 Ferrari casting for premium, along with the basics and the RLC that we've seen, and it's going to keep on coming. This thing is super, super cool, and very excited to open this one up. We hadn't seen the art. I know that that some of the preview pics came out there. We have finally seen the art. Timeless icons being like this, you know, in studio, these cars that are more show cars maybe than anything. And this one definitely, like the Carrera GT, definitely fits in that theme. We'll see if that will just stay right there. 3rd car, Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2, the BNR34, and this is a new casting. Some people have asked, like, they're like, hey, there's side mirrors on this one. Did they modify it? No, this is brand new, built from scratch by Ron Wong. It's a version of the R34 he's wanted to do, and just using it as a time to update a casting that has been used a ton. Phil Reelman's original R34, which is a fantastic casting, but was kind of, those notes were used for the RLC. Of course, it was moved to premium and basic and everything else, but this is a brand new casting by Ron for premium, and so this is the first version. Like I said, we will do a comparison of this one, and of course, as most know, it is also, if I can do this right in this unboxing, which I'm making a mess, put the Ferrari here, there it is. It is the chase, and so we'll get to that one too. We'll definitely open this one up. All black chase, all black wheels, and no Hype R here, no jet black 499P, but still a very, very cool chase, and we know it's an R34 Skyline. It is going to be in high demand. 2 more cars. The other new casting in this one, which the F50 I'm super excited about. The R34, I really like that Ron did it. But this might be the one I'm most excited about, as a Lexus LFA, because I do think this one is an iconic model and car, and one that I love. There's mixed opinions on this as being a legendary car, but I think it definitely fits in this theme, and I'm very, very excited to see it as a premium and as a Hot Wheels. First time we've seen anything like this as a Hot Wheels. Ron designed it. I'm always happy when Ron designs it. I should show you, because I haven't shown you yet. There's the back of this. This will be hitting actually fairly soon. I know that Ronin Run 2 is hitting right now, but this one I think will follow up just the way the timing goes for these. This will follow up pretty soon. Okay, where am I putting this one? This is a funny. And last one. This is cool. I like the Koenigsegg Agera R. This is the old casting. This is not the new one done for Fast and Furious by Ron, for Fast and Furious Premium. This is my weak link in this. Now, I'm not complaining about it. I think this on its own, this purple version of the Koenigsegg Agera R is great. The casting has, you know, the new one is so much better. And I would have loved if this one were in purple, and this, because this deco's fabulous. If this one were in purple and it was just the Fast and Furious, I'd be stoked. But it is the old one, and that's okay. But I do think, I mean, Koenigsegg, it's an iconic kind of show car, of course. You know, definitely a head turner. If you actually see one on the road, you're not going to see these on the road very often. None of these are, at least in the United States. The R34 maybe. So I could see some people arguing that the R34 is not necessarily in the timeless icons, but I think it's become a legend, especially among JDM fans. The Koenigsegg is a hypercar that you just don't see very often, but I don't know if I'd put this in with the F50, the Carrera GT, and the Lexus LFA. So I have some ideas on the car I would have rather put in here, and you guys can tell me what you think. We'll get to that in the car show. But there is, if I can put this, there it is. There's the mix of cars, 5 models, 1 chase. 5 models, 1 chase. I have no idea if I've done a good job of showing these off in this location, but you know, the location is really cool. And I'm standing here in. But alas, in order to get you guys some good views of these cars, we need to put them in the studio. So here comes the car show. Let's open these up. All right, let's get to it. Let's open these up one by one. Very excited. There are no misses in this set. We're going to start with a legend, the Ferrari F50. Get to that one, then we'll move through each one of these. And like I said, no misses. We're going to finish off with the Koenigsegg. While I think this is a fast, don't get me wrong, I said this was the weak link. Weak link in a set that's pretty much near perfect. And my only reasoning, well, we'll talk about it, but ultimately I think there are other castings that I think could have been in place of this one. I still think this is a really, really great version of this model. Love to see it in purple with this trim. It really is great. So I really don't want people to think that I'm just saying this is a terrible choice. I just think there are better choices, and I think it'll be a fun car show to go through the models that I think would have been good in that realm. And we'll get to that at the end, but let's get through these first 4 because there are not misses here. And I think with the theme timeless icons, these definitely fit within that, like just that upper echelon of cars, you know, like that, not Monterey Week, but like on Pebble Beach level cars, right? And so let's get to it. Ferrari F50, this is an easy, I mean, we're what, number 1, 2, 3, this is the 4th casting in the new Ferrari agent for premium, right? We've got, we started, I mean, we'll just do it again. We might as well. This is the Ferrari era, so this is the 499p, and we're not talking about RLC, of course. We're talking about premium level. We're not talking about basic, but the 499p, what a debut that was, doing the race car instead of, you know, a million other Ferraris that they could have done. I thought that was a great choice, and of course it was the chase, and it's just, I mean, every time I pull these out, you realize, as much as I love these castings, the execution of Ron Wong on this one, the 499p, is insane. That being said, the star of this first year of Ferrari may be the LaFerrari, right? I just, you know, not only is it a step ahead of the, or a step above the original LaFerrari casting from way back when that was done for basic, but it's just, it is also iconic. I mean, you could have put this in instead of the F50. I think the F50 is the better choice for timeless icons, but the LaFerrari would have been there. It's that level, right? Enzo's like that. I mean, there's a million Ferraris that you could put in there, including the 250 GTO, which is the 3rd casting that we've had for this Ferrari set. Team Transport, right? We'd showcase that coming out, hitting very, very soon, right? So we'll be seeing that one in Team Transport on the shelves, or, you know, intentioned to be on the shelves here very soon. And now we have the 4th casting, and it's a doozy. So there it is. We looked at it. I don't have to do anything else here. We just need to open these up. Let's open up the F50. Gloves it's not easy with gloves, but it is doable with gloves. Let's put this here And let's have, no, it's not actually. Let's have a look at this. I feel like the choice, the variety, it's not just all, you know, this is a timeless icon, right? It definitely is. This is a model that even if we never had the big 10 plus year gap of no Ferraris, that, I mean, I'm going to go through a list. This will be a future video of the Ferraris from the past that I think could be upgraded with what the designers can work with now and the talent level and, you know, Ron taking these on. But yeah, this thing is just a phenomenal model. I mean, are you in agreement with me? This is the run now of Ferraris for premium in 2025, and I don't think there's a miss, right? Would you agree? That's my thought. All right, let's move on. Number 3 of 5, because we skipped the Koenigsegg, let's go to the most pleasant surprise in this set, which is the Porsche Carrera GT. So happy to see this move to premium. And like I said, I'm very happy to see this classic casting. And I wonder if we look at the year on this. Yeah, it still has the 2008 classic casting from, or 2008, or is it 2000? Yeah, it says 2008, or maybe it says 6 on it. 2006. Still has that 2006 chassis. Like, so this is a, you know, nearly 20-year-old casting, and it looks really good. Like I said, if it were done today, maybe the wheels aren't so big in the back, you know, but it still vibes as a Porsche Carrera GT, and I'm really glad they moved this casting. Now, I do not have all of them. There were quite a few, but I have kept kind of my favorite colors, and it's kind of funny how this kind of works out, because you go with the first one. This is the first edition of the Carrera GT. What's funny is this one got all the detail. I don't even think the premium has this kind of detail in the back with that back window. That was just something you always found little surprises back then. Just based on budget. The red interior is very, very nice. This is the first edition. There was a faster than ever version. I do not have that. Same car, same wheels, just in the with the copper axles, which is really cool. Recolor that year was yellow, so kind of funny, and not funny at all. Just kind of interesting. And you know, look, you know, front headlights, tail lights, still that detailing on the back window, covering the engine cover, which is fabulous. So there's a yellow version, which we are getting again. Then, like, over the years, I just kept 2 other colors. Just 2. I mean, there was red, there were several stripes. There's a Zamac. I didn't pull out the Zamac in my Zamac collection. I'd only have it because of that. I really like just the plain colored one. So there was, I don't even remember what years these were released. Well, I mean, they changed the chassis there. Look at that. That's what the chassis used to be. Porsche Carrera GT. It's far more detailed now. Trying to think when they changed it. Well, clearly they changed it for the premium. So they had the black version with the chrome PR5s, and then I think this may have been the same year they did this dark gray version, also still with the engine detailing on the back. So this one was very cool as well. I like the OH5 wheels on it because I just feel like that kind of looked a little cooler, kind of more in line with the actual Porsche. But there is a couple others that I have from the collection, and I think when you're talking about the Porsche Carrera GT, this may be the must-have now as the premium timeless icons. But I still don't sleep on the old speed machines, and we've showcased these before and fairly recently, right? This is one of my, did I say this was my favorite speed machines? I might have. It's so funny when I do these videos and then I quickly forget what I ranked it. But yeah, Comold wheels. This was a great model. This is a very expensive model these days on the secondary market. In white, Porsche detailing, engine covers done very, very well. That was one. Then of course it was recolored. And oh, look at that again. Yellow. More of a mustard yellow. That one's more of a faded yellow, and this one is the mustard yellow with the Comold wheels and the covers and everything else. So it's had a good run, and there's quite a few of them over the years. We haven't seen it a lot recently, so really, really excited to see this one move to premium. So let's get this one open, of course. We need to get this one on the turntable. Yeah, so it's a clear window cover. Well, actually, before I put it on the turntable, there is some texture there. Now, what I can't tell, no, it's there. The detailing is there. I take that back. It is absolutely there. It's just done with more detail, like probably more appropriate with the premium detailing, right? So this might have been something, I don't know if Ron did this or Christina or Van. But yeah, see, it is there. Okay, that is good to know because I couldn't tell in the blister, but no, it's accurate. That's really because I was kind of like, oh, that's the only disappointment there. But no, take that all back. This is great. This is the definitive version now. With, you know, metal chassis. The wheels look great on this one. And of course, yeah, we have 3 versions of this car too now, which in yellow, but yeah, no complaints on that at all. I'm thrilled to have this one. So really excited. I would love to see it again. No reason to redo it. I just think it has a little bit of that, you know, Hot Wheels history in it. And then, you know, some... it still looks good. It fits in nicely with the modern kind of car culture-esque castings. Very, very happy to have it in the set. Let's keep on going. All right, here we are. Number 4 of 5, the Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2. Brand new casting, totally built from scratch by Ron Wong. We've had the old one in several iterations, right? Originally a Phil Reelman design from 2009, I believe, or 2010. It's had a plastic spoiler, a metal spoiler, then it went to premium, then it went a version of it. It was modified and built kind of with the same notes, essentially from scratch for RLC. And now we have a brand new R34. Now, of course, I could go through those. I'm not going to. We've done it a million times. You could even bring the Liberty Walk R34 in here. There's been several versions. Not doing that. We're just doing one thing. We're going to compare this one to this one. There's the classic with the metal spoiler. This is the Fast and Furious version, and it's in blue with black wheels, essentially, or gray wheels. And for those that want to see the differences, now the V-Spec 2 is a modified. Now in the timeless icons, I think this would be, the R34 is pretty collectible. I don't know, you know, you could argue that maybe the R34 doesn't fit along with the F50, the LFA, the Carrera GT, but the V-Spec 2 probably does. Would Ron tell you that this was just his excuse to do his version of the GTR, to work on it, do it the way he wants it? Of course he would. And so he's like, yeah, I wanted to do it, and here it is. And I mean, is this going to stay on the shelf? Of course not. So we're going to open it up. Then I will open up the chase after that. But let's start by opening this one up. Exciting to have this one open. And here it is. Let's first put it on the turntable just so we can get a sense of this car. And I'm not necessarily going to go all into the details that make it different. So let's just look at it now. It is an R34. It is the V-Spec 2. It has some details in terms of its stance, its spoiler, intake on the hood, some of the other things that make it specific as a VTEC. Probably sits like some of the other body elements of it make it, you know, fit within that. But I mean, just looking at it right now on its own, you can tell that there's quite a bit of difference. And I just think people are going to be curious about this, so that is what we are going to do. So here it is. There they are, side profile. We'll put them on the turntable together here in a little bit. Let's talk about the noses. In fact, let's get up close. There's the noses. You can see some of the other details. We'll show the front grills. Those are a little bit different. And this might be year to year too, but you can see some of these details that are different. The rear, the spoiler, obviously he's lowered the spoiler and on this one. And I think this one might, I think the old spoiler that was plastic on this casting did sit a little bit lower. This one obviously is probably more to, I don't think it's just a VTEC spec. You can see some detailing there too that's a little bit different on the back. Interior is going to be hard. There's the interior of the old one. He's got windows on this one, so I don't know if we can get totally into the detail on this one. Right-hand drive, of course. Hard to tell. That might be something that we'll all have to do on our own. And chassis, if you want to see it. And then I think probably from a stance perspective, obviously you can see the hood, the differences on the hood as well. There's quite a bit of differences here. And then I think if we move the camera, you'll see that there's a bit of a difference in stance as well. So there we go. So we'll put this one here, we'll put this one here, and we got to open up that chase. All right, here is the chase. We'll go ahead and put it in its place right here, looking good. Same casting, just as a chase. Artwork is exactly the same. We see little changes that they do. So we have a license plate. I didn't even notice. I didn't even talk about that. We have a license plate from Ron's V-Spec. And I think, is it the same here? I think it is the same. Let's just go ahead and, what are we waiting for? Let's get this one open. So fun. After I filmed outside, one car fell off that rock I was filming on. Guess which one? Yep. This one. No damage, but it was I have some damage to the card a little bit and a little scratch on the blister, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, of course. Well, as soon as I turned around and as soon as I heard this crack on the ground, I was like, that's the chase. Sure enough, it was the chase. And here it is. Obviously, everything the same here. I'm we'll just put it on the turntable. I'm looking at it from, I've even got, yeah, there's no difference. I think the license is exactly the same. Everything's exactly the same. So it's just essentially a recolor, which I have no complaints about with this one. You know, it's just going to be a very popular chase. It's going to be a very cool one to have, you know, black body, black rims. It's just a really, really nice model. So I know we're going to hear the complaints. Oh, R34, Hot Wheels is a cat, you know, it's like, oh, they're just a money grubbing. I'd do this too. I mean, my goodness. And this is Ron. Ron is just doing his thing. And I think we can appreciate it. Ron has come in and he is saying, I am leaving my mark. I am doing the cars that I want to do. We know he's supercar obsessed, but have you noticed between like the FD Civic and some of these others, like he's putting out some powerhouse cars. And we've had people talk about like, what's the next era with Hot Wheels? And I think this era of car, whether it's Euro, American, Japanese, I think this is how we define it. I don't know, but you know, the R34 being king right now, but we're seeing all these other cars like the F50 things coming into this era, 90s, early 2000s, that sort of thing. That looks really, really good. All right, let's move on to the LFA. All right, Lexus LFA. I think as I go through this, this is the model I am most excited about personally. I think the F50, I'm so excited about the Carrera GT. The F50 is a monster. The new Skyline is fabulous, but LFA has been so high on the list. Matchbox did theirs. When I heard that Ron Wong was tackling the LFA, that was like, as Ron would say, chef's kiss. So excited about him doing the LFA. And here it is, and I'm very, very excited to open it. Lexus Car Show Easy. There's been some old Lexuses that have been done. We have seen two versions of the Soarer. And I mean, it's a Toyota Soarer, and it's not a Lexus, but it's a Lexus in the US, and I don't know if we've seen it with Lexus badging yet, so I put it in here. But if you're doing a Lexus car show, it's kind of interesting because you've got this. When I did this is the second Team Transport version. We had the Fast and Furious Falcon version in that maroon color, but it is a Toyota. When you're talking about Lexus badging, I was like, if I'm doing a car show, I could just show the LFA, but then I was like, this might be a time, maybe one of the only times, to pull out the question, whatever happened to the Lexus RCF GT3? Remember this? In a 2-pack several years ago? In matte black? What was it with? Maybe the Nissan, or I can't even remember what it was with. And we have not seen it since. What happened? I do wonder about, you know, maybe licensing is a bit slow moving maybe, or complicated. I don't know for a fact if that's the case, but I think in car culture, at least, this is the only Lexus badge. I might be totally overlooking something. You guys will tell me in the comments, and I'll just go, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, whatever happened to that one? And it does make me wonder, are we going to see, I mean, I'm really glad we have a white LFA. This would be my color of choice for this launch. And, you know, I just hope we're going to see the LFA soon afterwards, because, I mean, it's such a cool car. So let's open this up. Kind of interesting that there's very little Lexus. I mean, it's not like they have an arsenal of cars that, you know, there's, you know, Matchbox has done a couple, but I'm really interested what happened to that one, because we have not seen it since. And maybe it's slated, and we'll find out like 5 seconds here when I'm at the Hot Wheels convention here in a couple days. They'll pull out of the next version of it, and I'll go, oh yeah, oh yeah. Here is the LFA. Look at this. So this one has the spoiler extended, right? And then I think there's, you know, and I'm actually fine with this one because that's how it would look if it were on, what, Nürburgring or something like that. So we've got the spoiler extended. I guess you could have done a version without it, but I think, you know, what's the badging on this one? Just as Lexus LFA. Yeah, so it does on the chassis as well. It's great. This is a car I've loved. Obviously, it sounds like a cajillion dollars when it whizzes by and whines, and it's just one of the coolest sounding cars ever. And I know there's been a lot of talk about that, but I've always liked the look of it. The front, you know, the way the front sits, the back. I just think it's a very, very cool car. And yes, if I was going to have anyone tackle it, if I was going to assign someone to tackle it, it would be Ron Wong. And I'm so glad he did. And I'm so excited to see this one. And yeah, I mean, if I take, maybe I'll take the Soarer out because it's a Toyota, but that's a pretty cool duo of Lexi. I just hope we extend the family at some point soon because these are awesome. Let's move on to the final portion of the show, the Koenigsegg. All right, final car, number 2 of 5. We skipped it to come back to it. It is the Koenigsegg Agera R, Agera R casting that I've talked, ever since it kind of returned to car culture. We've seen it in Boulevard, car culture, pop culture. I've always talked like I just really did not like this when it was first launched in Need for Speed. The wheels were poor, but the versions since have been pretty cool. Now the problem, not problem of course, but the new Lexus would be the one. It would have been, you know, in the planning stages if this, and this is Ron's not Lexus. This is Ron's Koenigsegg, the CCXR. I would have rather seen this one just because it's the better casting to see this one in the car culture mix. Obviously, we're going to see it in car culture eventually, but this is the one that I would have loved to see, and I'm thrilled it's in Fast and Furious, and it's a beautiful version. But I would have rather seen that than this one. And as I've said, I don't have any problem with this car, and I think it does fit within the timeless icons, but I do think there are cars that fit just slightly better. And because you're talking about cars that just have kind of a legendary status. So let's look at the Koenigsegg first. Let me open this one up, and then we're going to talk about some of the models, and I definitely want your ideas. And you might say, I want this one there, and I want it in purple, and that's totally cool. But if you think there's some others that fit like the timeless icon theme, and I have definite thoughts, I would love to see your comments, and I would probably, there's probably some that you guys will say that I'll be like, oh, I should have thought of that one. Here it is. We'll put it on the turntable. It's a decent casting. It definitely looks a little tuned now that we have Ron's casting. It just looks a little, oh yeah, oh my gosh, after I open it. I don't know, the last time I featured this, was before Ron's Fast and Furious casting came out, and now, like, I was cool with it in the package, and now I'm even looking at it in real time while we're filming this, and I'm like, yeah, retire it. Retire this casting. It just has been so badly passed by. It is absolutely the opposite of the Carrera GT in terms of like older casting that, you know, still works today. Just retire this one and run with the CCXR because it is the better casting by far. By far. Now the deco on it's fabulous. I really like the purple with the yellow trim, but boy, man, I was like, I wanted to be positive, but it's showing up a little bit. Yeah, that Fast and Furious is better. All right. So with that said, what would I put in place of this? Now I'm trying to be realistic. Like I would actually be strategically thinking about the models that I would put in this, because if we already look at the set, we have 3 new castings. It has to be an existing casting. So the first thing I thought, Euro, Japanese, Euro, German and Italian. And I was like, what's not represented? Well, American muscle, right? But what is an American car that fits like this level? And I started thinking about it. And so I was like super legendary. So the first thing I thought about was the Pontiac GTO Judge. And I thought, well, okay, we've had that in premium. We had it in Boulevard years and years ago. And I thought, the GTO Judge does not get a lot of love these days. I don't know if you would say it's as iconic, a timeless icon as like the F50. Value-wise, of course it wouldn't be, but it is that kind of level when it comes to, American muscle. I would definitely say that was one, but I don't think it sits up to that to that level. So after that, after the GTO, I thought Chevelle, possibly. I even said, you know, this Fast and Furious version that we haven't seen since it was released. We've only seen it in Fast and Furious. I thought maybe that's one, but that's more of like a garage car, like someone that they work on. Then I thought, what else was iconic? Maybe the Superbird. This one gets in there. You see it at some of like Barrett Jackson and some of these others going for a pretty penny. So maybe certain versions of the Superbird could be in there. But again, I'm actually trying to think like what would be an iconic car to use in this. So when I was going American Muscle, the only thing I could think of, and we already have a perfect version of it, is the Grand National. This is the Buick Regal GNX from Fast and Furious. This would be the version I'd put in there. We already have it. So this would, I was like, that's probably the American car that I would put in there that I think would be closest to being in that set. So I had to move on from that. Now I thought, I think the Vector's American. I thought maybe this one, a return of this legendary one-hit wonder from Boulevard. The twin turbo Vector could be something that maybe could be the model that would go in there. I think people would be thrilled to see this come back in purple or in white or in silver. I think this one would be a close second for me in terms of a timeless icon, but there would be some argument that maybe not. So then I had to go back to Euro. Maybe the RS2 back in this iconic blue. It's been done in basic, but it hasn't been done in premium. So I thought maybe that is one that we could do. I thought that's a possibility to do that one in blue. And that one, I think maybe could go there. Maybe a gray, a charcoal gray would be a cool one or something. We've seen some cool versions of that one, but I settled on one and I think it is absolutely the best one. The one casting that I would have done is the CLK DTM from Mercedes. I thought that one would fit, but we don't have that one. We could go back to the old one that Hot Wheels did. So I was thinking, well, that's an existing casting, but this tool is long gone. And it would be a cool one to see Ron update one of these days. So I'm going to disqualify, but the CLK DTM, we got the CLK this year from Hot Wheels, which is pretty fabulous. We got the CLK GTR a while ago. That would be a decent fit, but this would be the one I think would be a timeless icon. But along those same lines, I thought there's a car that we haven't seen done in its proper deco or its proper color. So this would be my choice. And you guys tell me what you think. I settled with the C63 AMG Coupe Black Series. Not just any C63 Black Series. This is the first one released in red. And there was the Chase, of course, in black. But a white one. Why have we not seen a white C63 Black Series? I mean, it would be a perfect car to be done. But we haven't. And so when will we see that one? That's the one that I would have put in here. So even as I sour even more on the Koenigsegg, which I now have lost over here deep behind these others, I would have chosen maybe, I think my choices above the Koenigsegg would be the Grand National, the Vector, the RS2, but this would be my choice, is the C63 Black Series, a legendary car in white. You guys tell me what you think. Great set. What do you guys think about this one? What are the cars you like the most? I think it's a fabulous, fabulous set. I'll even be okay with the Koenigsegg, but man, where does it fit with these other sets in car culture? I have no idea because it has been a very strong year. We'll talk about that in the Lamley Awards. You guys tell me what you think. Thanks, everybody. Bye.